Okay, hello everybody. There have been a few questions about the beginning of chapter Unit 7, Activity 1, with respect to histograms and frequency histograms and probability histograms. Well, I'm going to walk you through just how to do some of these things in Excel, and hopefully that'll alleviate some problems. When you get to Unit 7, Activity 4, the assignment, the submitted assignment for that particular unit, there's a question on there, number 1, that asks you to create a probability histogram after you've calculated the probabilities of each of the occurrences. And then it asks for, number 2, it asks for a frequency histogram. So I'm going to walk you through both of those things, but I'm going to reach back to Activity 1 and talk about the introduction here of them. Okay, so we talk about general probabilities and probability distributions. So here's a probability chart. If I roll a dice and I get a sum 1 out of 36 is my probability, all the way to 12, and I get a normal distribution. We see that on a frequency histogram, and we see it on a probability histogram. Now histograms, as we're learning, have the sort of the bins or the totals at the bottom along the x-axis, and then the frequency up the side. The histogram is defined by the fact that it's continuous data, so they're right, the bars to represent the data, in this case frequency, are jammed right together. Okay, there's no gaps, there's no unknowns in between, right? It's continuous data. So frequency, that would mean that I can get the sum of 7. It occurs 6 times on my chart or on my table. And the probability histogram, it really looks the same. Okay, the basic shapes are the same. Probability along the y-axis is just a different calculation. The bars represent the same, and the basic shapes are the same. Okay, but just along that y-axis scale, it's representing probability as opposed to frequency. Okay, so like I said, you're going to be asked to do a couple of those calculations, and there are two of them done here, and I think generally students miss this. Okay, we don't generally see this, and I don't think a lot of students at this stage are even doing these practice questions and looking at them. I want you to do the practice questions. I want you to take the time to do it, regardless of it being submitted or not. Okay, this is just like a homework for your own good and well-being in the class, and you can check answers here. So when I click on the check answers button, I get this display. So here's the first one. Okay, number 4, the frequency. I need a frequency histogram for this chart. So here's the chart. When I roll 3 dice, I can get a sum of 3. Okay, and it occurs once, all the way up to a sum of 10 and 11 and 12. And look at the occurrences here: 27 times, 25 times. Look at the basic symmetrical nature of this. Okay, this frequency distribution chart here. Okay, all the way up to 18. So if I roll a 6 and a 6 and a 6, I get a sum of 18, and that can happen 1. So here is the frequency histogram for this particular chart, and I provided an Excel solution for it, but I'm going to walk you through how to do this in Excel. Okay, so let's see if I can find it. Here is my frequency distribution chart that I do. I'm going to put another column. I'm going to call it probability. Okay, eventually I'm going to do the probability. Okay, because I think I'm asked to. Well, let's go back here and check. I'm asked to. Well, I need to frequency, so that's all I have. I'll do the probability for the next one. So I'm asked to do a frequency, and I already have the frequency values here. Okay, so I can insert. Now I don't want to use a histogram. Okay, histogram, for whatever reason in Excel, when you insert a chart and you choose a histogram, Excel handles it a little differently. Excel looks at the bin totals, okay, and it doesn't really process it very well. What we want to do, is just a bar chart. Okay, and I wanted to do a bar chart for this. Now I just have to adjust it a little bit. Okay, so a couple of things I'm going to do, and when I click on my chart, I can right click and go to select data, and I want to change this up a little bit. Okay, so I want to get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, so let's remove my sum, and my probability. Okay, and I'm going to, in the range data, I'm going to do my frequency. Okay, and there I've got, okay, so what I did there, okay, was just select, okay, okay, so I've got all that frequency, and I'll show you that again, okay. Let me just back up here. Okay, so this was the generated chart, okay, and I want to change my data, okay, so that, okay, along the bottom, okay, it's picked up as, okay, as 1 to 16, okay, but my sum, I'll adjust that in a second here. So I want to change, okay, my settings here and have that. So I click on my generated chart in Excel, I go down and select data, I just remove everything that was automatically generated. I have to do that again, sorry. Okay, so remove, okay, and remove if I like, everything disappears. So in my chart data range box, I click on the spreadsheet and I go and select what I want to graph here. Okay, and I can just okay that and go. So that looks a little bit better. Okay, so let's make it even look stronger here. I'm going to delete my legend, I don't want that. Okay, and I want to change my, let's see if I can remember how to do this. Okay, I want to change my, I'm going to do my data type again, select data, okay, and I want to, horizontal my label. Okay, so I did, what I did here was I want to edit this. Okay, so I want to, okay, select my horizontal range here and just go and okay that. Okay, so now I'm starting at 3 and going to 18. So I've effectively changed my sums here. So this is my sum along the x-axis, and this is my, okay, frequency along the y-axis, and I want to title it as well too. So I do that in my graph by clicking on the add button and just add some titles, okay, and I want to add a chart title. Okay, so this is a frequency histogram. Okay. Okay, and the axis title here. Okay. Oh, I want to position it a little bit better, and this will be the frequency. And then this one, the axis title will be, okay, the actual sum. Okay. Now I have to do one more thing to make it look like a histogram. Okay. Now before I do that, I can make it a lot bigger if I want, just to be able to see it a little bit. I've got over here in my version of Excel, I've got my chart area, okay, and that's the whole area, the space. Okay, if I want to size it or change my properties, I want to though, okay, format, click on, okay, one of the bars, and up here that comes up in my editing window is this format data series. Now over here I've got these sliders, this series overlap and a gap width. So I want to get rid of my gap width down to 0, and that turns it into a histogram. So I want to remove those gaps. Now honestly I don't know what the series overlap it does. It doesn't look like it does really anything. So I'm not going to adjust that too much, but I'm going to click off that. Now if you like, okay, I can click on the fill, okay, and change the color. Okay, I can go with solid fill if I want to go a little bit lighter. Okay, and my border down here, if I want to put, okay, a border, solid line, maybe go, okay, a black border here, just so to highlight these and see these here. Now I've also got, remember my chart title, okay, and I can adjust these, okay, over here, plot area. I'm not sure exactly, okay, if that's the plot area I want. If I do quick layout or a couple other things here, I'm just experimenting. Oh, under chart element, grid lines is where I want to go, and if I want to put actual grid lines on it, I can do that, and I can use these grid lines if I want, or if I got more grid line options. I experiment and play around with these graphs. I don't go too crazy though. I want to make this is how I want to present it here. So there's a frequency histogram, okay, and I can copy and paste that. Just go click on it and go Control C, open it in Word if I want, okay, and it should enter, or I can do a screen capture of that, or if you like, you can submit the whole, okay, document here, but that should come in pretty nicely here. Okay, and that's that question. Okay, so that's a frequency histogram. On the same note, let's talk about, okay, probability histogram. Okay, so see if I can do a probability histogram. Now, probability histogram, I'm going to just format this a little bit more. I'm going to change that to the blue color to match, okay, close match. Okay. And I'm just going to size that again, maybe to 16. That's not exactly the color match here. There, that's a little bit better. Okay, so when I calculate the probability, I need a sum total. Okay, I'm going to put that down at the bottom of my column, and in this area, I'm going to find the sum of this column here, 1 all the way up to 27, all the way back down to 1. So I can get Excel to do that dirty work. Okay, equals sum, open bracket, and then I just highlight. Okay, much like we did in the culminating for 4, if you did any of this data, this long range of stuff. So I've a total sum of 216. So my probability now, okay, I'm going to show you a couple of things here to do to help your work with that. So to calculate the probability of a sum of 3 occurring one time, but as a probability, it's 1 divided by 216. So in this box, I'm going to type in the calculation I want, equals. So I click the cell I want, and then I'm dividing, and then I click this cell that I want to divide by. But before the 18, I want to put a $sign in because I don't want this box to move. I always want the contents of cell B18 to be in the denominator of my calculation here. So I hit enter, I get a probability. Okay, so what I do is I tell Excel how to calculate it in one cell, okay, and then I tell Excel to fill the rest of them and do the calculations for me. So I highlight the box, the whole box, and I go up here and find this little icon here, this fill icon, and I click on it and I fill down because I want to provide the rest of the data, okay, or have Excel do it. Okay, that's it. Okay, if I'm not 100% sure, I can check one. 27 divided by 216 is, okay, 12.5%. Now, if I want to format these, okay, just get rid of some of the decimals. Okay, decrease the decimal button up here. Keep going. Let's go to about maybe 3 decimals, and confirm this sum as well should be 1, right? And I think it is if I've done this properly here. Bang. Okay, enter 1. Now if you want to put it as a percent, you can do that, format it as a percent. Okay, that's a percent, that's fine. That's probability percent. And if you also want to make it into, okay, a box, we can do that too, make it look a little bit, okay, a little bit more formatted. Okay, that's good. Now I want to do a probability distribution. Okay, so let's see if I can try that. And I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. Okay, I'm actually going to try and insert. I've done this before, but I haven't done this in a while, so let me try this. I'm going to insert first without selecting anything. Okay, so let's go down here and create my probability. Oh, that's not going to work very nicely here. Insert. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. So let's go and see if we can now adjust the data here. Okay. I'm not sure what I've got going on here. Regardless, okay. So let's see if I can create my blank chart first, okay, and then just add in the data like I did before. Okay, so I need to select data type, and I'm going to get rid of all these things. It might take me a while. Okay. And in my data range, okay, I'm going to select my probability. Okay. So I should have my probabilities, right? Okay. I can get rid of my series. Okay. And I also then need to adjust my x-axis. Select data again. Okay. And then edit, okay, and then my range is, okay, I believe it's this column here, and I okay that, and I okay that. Okay, so there's my probability distribution. Okay, I can add titles again, so I'm going to add axes titles. I'm going to add a chart title. This is my probability. Histogram. Okay. My x-axis is my probability. Okay. And then these are my sums. Okay. And then the next thing I do is adjust my, okay, that's my format data series, I believe that's what it was. Yeah. So I got to adjust this depth width. And then I'm going to just color it again a little bit differently. Maybe put some borders in here, solid line borders that are selectively black. Okay, and I'm going to let's go a little bit different here. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's okay probability histogram. And like I said, they kind of match and model the same basic shape, right? So I need columns here. I can calculate my frequency. Okay, with a tree diagram or just a simulation or whatever the case may be. The theoretical frequencies are pretty easy to come up with. The probability is done this way, and then these histograms. Okay, now there was another, while I have you here, there was another, okay, one on the, okay, the assignment was this one here. Okay, so the probability, okay, of flipping 0 heads, okay, 1 head when I flip 4 coins. Probability of getting 1 head is a quarter. Probability of getting 2 heads is, okay, 3/8, and then another quarter, and then, okay, 1/8. I think that is, or 1/16. I'm sorry, it should be. Okay, and it asks you to create a probability histogram. Okay, so I need this chart. Let's see if I can, okay, go off and do that for you here. Okay, so let's go. Let's open the next one I have up here. Okay, it's this one. 5B, flipping heads from 4 coins. Okay, and that's what it looks like. Okay, so again, it was highlighted. I won't do this. I won't walk through this. Okay, I walked through the first two. Okay, there's my probability down here. Okay, and then my sum. One thing I should fix is notice the problem here, right here. Okay, so it should say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? There's 5 boxes, right? Five boxes on my histogram, but the scale that I picked up, it counted when I graph the probability. Excel counts this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it arbitrarily assigns those values along the x-axis. We have to just modify that slightly because I wanted to represent the number of heads. I want it to be 0 all the way to 4 because I'm only flipping 4 coins. Okay, remember how to do that? That's a data type question, right? Okay, so I have to select, okay, I have to, okay, select my data, and I have to change that. Okay, so I have to edit that and select, tell Excel exactly what I want to grab there, and then okay it. And you notice that it changed automatically here. Okay, so that's good, good. Okay, I don't know how Excel did this. Okay, I guess the background. Okay, the background. Okay, but my guess would be that, okay, I probably have this chart tool, this chart element. That might be, okay, a grid line. Okay, it might be more options under my grid line. I have no idea. Major grid line, background color, don't know. Okay, let's try it a different way. Here's one. Okay, how about this background fill color? Solid fill, maybe it was that. I don't like this solid fill. Let's go, there we go. That's how I got rid of it. Okay, so that's another way. So when you're asked to, in activity 4 from unit 7, so U7A4, when you're asked to, okay, in question 1C, create a probability histogram, you need the probabilities first, and you've done that in A and B, and you need to continue to do those probabilities. Then you're asked to do a frequency histogram for number 2, and I've shown you how to do that as well too here. You can do it in Excel, you can do it by hand, you can probably even find a histogram a generator online somehow, but I mean the bottom line is you have to come up with the data that you're graphing, and exactly the challenge sometimes. But however you come up with the graph is really your call here. Okay, that's good. You should have enough to go with. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.